I know I look dreadful. I mean, no shower. Running around trying to protect my car so I have a way to get back home. This trip, if I was not here at this time to see it, to believe it, I think that if somebody told me they had gone through and experienced what I did, I probably wouldn't believe it, because it sounds too fantastic, it sounds too crazy, it sounds too wild. It's like, oh, somebody's making this up to keep my attention. That's what it is. No, no, that's not what it is at all, because I promise you, I have lived every second. And I have had times in my life where I was scared, but I have never been as scared as I was when I woke up and found the cabin was surrounded in water. And I knew I couldn't get out. And I kept hoping for the best. And it kept getting worse. And I got no signal up here. It's very, very hard to get a signal. And I was panicking. I truly was. I mean, I'll admit it. I'm a big woman. I can admit these things. I have never been that scared in my life. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Department here and the Rescue Department and the young man that brought his airboat in to rescue me and Duke, and the poor farmer. We were sitting there on the bridge while they were waiting for transportation for me. And the most horrible thing I've ever heard in my life was listening to the cows in distress, knowing what was happening. And I had to stand there and hear that. They were stuck out in the field, and the field filled up on them, and they were on the highest possible ground, but you could hear the distress. You could hear the wailing. You could hear the noises that I don't want to repeat on here. And I'm an animal lover, and that really, really hurt. I've never heard something as horrible as that, and I don't ever want to hear it. They lost a lot. The people around here, they lost a lot. And they said it was the 100-year flood. And the man that owns this property, him and his wife, he's a minister, and his wife is the sweetest little thing. He said in all the years he's owned this, and he's owned it a long, long time, it has never come up over the embankment. He said he has never seen it flood like it did. And the rescue people said the same exact thing, that they have never seen the water come that fast and that high. So this was one of those freaky things, and guess what? I was there. Me and my luck. I guess that's what my toll in life is to experience these wild, weird things. But I don't ever want to experience it again, I promise you that. Because I was so wore out that when I got back yesterday to the cabin, Duke and I laid down and took a nap. After the nap, we got up, I got something to eat, and Duke and I went to bed. And we just got up a little while ago this morning to find out that I can't take a shower. And that's killing me because it's hot and muggy up here. And I am going to the diamond crater today. I promise you that. Today and hopefully tomorrow, to go and try to see if I can find anything. But I would love to have a shower. I really would, because I'm so sweaty, and Duke pulled me down the hill and I got mud all over me. Best I could do is use the wash rag. I guess you can say that I'm definitely roughing it. How about that one? Trying to get this out of that light. But yeah, I have my faithful here, my Dookie Duke. That's my precious. That's my precious. And you want to talk about scared? Whew. I had to lift him to put him on the airboat. And once I got him up there and we were sitting and the guy got off to push us back around so that we could take off. And the man in the back started the motor winding higher and, you know, trying to help him to push us around. And Duke flipped out. And he liked to have pulled me slam off of that boat. I had to grab him by the neck, hold on to him, talking to him, pleading with him, and then wrap my legs around him to hold him down. And it was that way all the way until we got to the road, and he was the very first person off of that thing, I promise you. And when I think about all of it, and I think about how close we were, and how wonderful God is, because God will hear your prayers, and He hears the prayers of your loved ones, and God will come in and take care of you when it's needed. Maybe not exactly when you want it, but when it's needed. And He was there for me. And I thank Him so much for being there. And so much for saving me so that I could share this story, because I know that we all hear about the floods. We all hear about the lives, and we hear about the livestock and the animals that are lost, and we hear about the damage. And we hear about the panic in the people during the time. But I thought that in the calmness today that maybe I could share part of the pain, of the craziness, of the panic in a more calm manner. And share some of the experiences that I went through during that time. And I can tell you that I love being out here, even with all the problems. The area was so beautiful. Monday, it was so beautiful. And then Monday night, I went to bed and got up Tuesday, and it was nothing like I had seen. Nothing. There was nothing but pure brown water, swift water now. This stuff was moving so fast that it would have taken you under easy. And we're talking a good 28 to 30 feet of water. That's a lot of water to drink. And it kept on coming, And the poor people that own this place, their car was one of the first casualties, and then their basement, and their water heater, and the water pump out here, the tank portion of it, it broke loose and floated away. It broke the pipe, so we had no water. That went out. And they had so much damage to several of their cabins and things out here that they're still working. They have busted pipes. I'm trying to think of all the things that they've had to deal with. And on Monday, I had gone to the grocery store, and I had purchased 4 gallons of water. Because I made coffee with the water out here, and it was kind of, I said, no, I won't do that again. But I was desperate. So when I come back from the motel, the lady here, she said, well, we still have no water. And I said, okay. And she says, we're working on it. We're trying to get 4 strong men to help us get the tank back and put it over and repair the pipe. She says, so please bear with us. We have no water. I said, I can deal with that, because I knew in the refrigerator I had plenty to drink. I knew I had 2.5 gallons in here and 1 gallon in the car if it did not get contaminated. Thank God it didn't. So I wasn't worried about that. And then she says, and I have to tell you, I am so sorry. And I said, what? And she says, we had to take 1 of your gallons of water because we could not get out. And I said, oh, honey, I'm not worried about that. I said, oh, no, 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 no. In a time like that, you take what you need. You take whatever you need. I said, it doesn't matter. Whatever I have and you need it, you take it. And she said, oh, thank you so much. She says, I was worried you would be mad. I said, you have your husband, yourself, and your young daughter in there, and there was no way you could get out. I said, and that's understandable. I says, and if you needed more, you could have took more. I would not have been upset. And she said, thank you, thank you. And this morning, with the plumbing issue and the TV still being off, complete signal loss since Monday night, the pastor, her husband, come by, and he was so apologetic and so upset with everything going on and with all this stuff, and he was panicking, and he seen my cigarettes on the counter, and he said, oh, you smoke? And I said, yes. He said, please, please, it's been 2 days, can I have a cigarette? And I said, oh, no, yeah, I'll give you a cigarette, no problem. I said, hey, I tell you what, I said, I bought a carton of cigarettes before I come up here. I said, and I have smoked 2 packs out of that carton. That's it. 2 packs since last Friday. I said, I will give you a pack, gladly. And he says, well, they just took my car off, and he says, the loaner car's not here yet, and now they're saying that they lost our information, and he says, I don't know what's going on. He says, I had to crawl through chest-deep water in my basement. He says, because my water heater broke loose. He said it started floating, and he says the water was going everywhere, and it just kept getting deeper and deeper, and I had to duck my head, and he said sometimes go under, and he says I was scared to death I was going to get electrocuted. And I said, oh my gosh. And he says, but I wanted to let you know that I prayed very hard for your car. He said, I did. I prayed so hard that your car would be protected, because I know that's what you need to go home. He says, and I was so upset. He says, I can't explain this. He says, I prayed very, very hard for your car and for you. He said, and I am so sorry. And I said, this is not your doing. This is not on you. This is something that, I don't know, it's just something that evidently had to happen for some reason. I don't know. But I thank you for the prayers, because they worked. So many people were praying for me. So many people were praying that I had my car to be able to get out. And thank you all. Thank you all. But the young man was, and I say young man, he's about my age, maybe slightly older, maybe, but he started crying. And he said, we've never seen this before, never. He said, and I was so scared. He said, you know, my wife, she said she was going to stay here in the cabin when you were leaving. And I said, oh, no, the men on the boat said they would not leave her there. They were not going to leave her. That's why they took her by the boat over to the house and let her off at the stairs, because there's no way she could have walked. That water was already over the embankment. It was rushing. It was tearing up the embankment. It was ripping the grass out. It was just horrible. And there was no way she could have walked back. No way. So they took her back home, and he said, thank you so much for that. He said, thank you. He said, because I was scared. He says, because I knew she's very tiny. And he says, I knew, just 18 inches of water is all it takes to wash you away. And we had well more than 18 inches. And I said, yes, I understand. But he says, that crazy woman was going to stay in your cabin. I said, oh my gosh. I said, I'm so glad that she went back home, because the guys would not leave without her going. Anyway, I don't want to make this too long, but I want to thank everybody sincerely from the bottom of my heart for all the prayers, for all the well wishes, for the checking on me and making sure that Duke and I was okay. And I'm so sorry you guys had to worry, but I understand. That was one of those life-changing moments right there. It really, truly was a life-changing moment. And God bless all of you. God bless all of you for thinking about me, for worrying about me. Thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless.